Welcome back, adventurers. The next big event at SeaWorld Orlando is back. Seven Seas Food Festival is here for 2026. So for the majority of this video, I'm going to share my screen with you so you guys can see what I'm looking at as we're talking about the Seven Seas Food Festival. So let's dive right in. So if you're curious about where you find details about the Seven Seas Food Festival, let's go to the screen and I'll show you. So you're going to come to the main SeaWorld website and then click on events. There will be Seven Seas Food Festival, and the concerts is also listed there. Let's begin with the food festival. So it's going to give you the information telling you about the fun fact that there is a rotating menu debuting for this year. We'll get more into that in just a moment. It also gives you a link to the menus, which also has this fantastic map, which you'll also see at the top of our screen, that tells you about where the locations are for each of the food spots. There's also a list showing you all of the concerts, and I have to admit, as I look through this, I haven't a clue who any of these people are, but the events will happen rain or shine at Bayside Stadium. So any of these you find interesting, find out more details on this website, and then you can also reserve a seat if you're interested. There's three different tier levels between $9 and $25 to be able to get a seat at this event. So there's no cost to sit and just get there and have a seat, but if you want more of a reserved, closer location, there is a cost for that. So let's talk about the sampling lanyard. There are two options on this. There is the $10 sampling lanyard, which is $74.99, and then there is the $15 sampling lanyard for $89.99. Now I have my calculator pulled up. We'll just stick it in the middle of the screen. That works. So if you're paying $89.99, we won't do the taxes and fees because I don't have the brain power to do that at the moment. But if we do that divided by 15, there we go. You're paying about $5.99 per item. So 15 items, about $5.99 a piece, and most of them are starting at about $10 to $12 on the menu. So this makes it a whole lot cheaper if you're wanting to try multiple. And fun fact, you guys get to keep using that all throughout the event. It runs from January 30th until May 17th. So if you're going to go in February and then you won't go again until April, hang on to the lanyard and you can use the food again there. It does not have to all be used the same day. You can use it at a later date. And because of that rotating menu, you may want to wait and hold on to some of those samples for later in the festival. Let me remind you real quick that typically I'm not seeing any details on it just yet. It may be coming out later, but if you are a SeaWorld pass holder, I believe it's probably from bronze up. I don't think Fun Card applies to this. Could, but I'm not sure on that. But if you're a pass holder, then you will typically get 3 additional samples. So that would make it 18 for $90 compared to 15 for $90. So let's do that math real fast. We'll just go ahead and hit 90 because it makes it a nicer round number, just makes it a whole lot easier. And that brings it down to exactly $5 per sample, which again, if you're planning on visiting multiple times, this is a fantastic deal. All right, so let's go talk about the foods. So the food, one other thing I just noticed is that the food markets will not open until 12 p.m. I believe it was 11 p.m. last year. They've moved that back an hour. It's now 12 p.m. until park close. So this is for the entirety of the rest of the day. They will be open. And as you can see on this map, it goes all the way around the park. It's a little bit of a gap there behind Bayside Stadium, but for the most part, it goes all the way around uninterrupted around the park. So let's talk about the food options you can try. So let's talk about the Caribbean market to begin with. You'll notice that they have under entrees, they have a coconut rice and beans. And then below that, they have something that's available only from January 30th through March 8th. This is part of that rotating schedule. So this item here will go away after March 8th, and you won't see it again in 2026. And then there's another option for the 9th of March through the 12th of April, and then another one that's available from April 13th through the end of the festival. For the sake of this video, we're only going to talk about those things that are available right now. So just bear in mind when you see these things on the screen, We're only talking about what you can get at this moment. So right now is that coconut rice and beans, which is coconut infused rice with beans. That's pretty good. Then chicken pinchos, which is grilled marinated chicken with island spices, and a pineapple upside down cake. Has vanilla cake with caramelized pineapple and cherries. Sounds pretty good. At the Italian market, the chicken parmesan is going to be a staple for the festival, as well as the meatballs. These are beef and pork meatballs in a savory tomato sauce. And then the item that will rotate out is going to be the penne pasta. Sorry, penne marinara. Technically pasta, you know what I mean. This is available from the 30th through March 8th. And then for dessert is a tiramisu cake, coffee coated cake layered with mascarpone cream. Sounds pretty good. At the Polynesian market, the items that are sticking around, they put these at the bottom, are going to be a tuna poke bowl with rice and avocado and a Hawaiian macaroni salad. Sounds pretty interesting. And then the item rotating out will be the holly, some sort of chicken that has a sweet Hawaiian style glaze. And that will be the item that rotates out. At the North American market, there's, of course, the fish and chips, the lobster roll, and the corn fritters are the item that will be rotating out. That actually sounds pretty good. Think fish and chips and corn fritters. Perfect side. You got a meal right there. It's fantastic. And then for dessert, it's going to be a blueberry tart. Sounds delicious. It's making me hungry. Not good. All right, then at the Old Fashioned Milk Co., there's going to be a red velvet cupcake, a chocolate cupcake. There's also going to be vanilla milkshake, chocolate milkshake, strawberry milk, and chocolate milk. Sounds pretty good. At the All American Market, there are chicken wings. How can you go wrong with a chicken wing? Pulled barbecue, pulled pork, mac and cheese. That's the one that's going to be going away. So you might want to try that one early. And then apple bites and ice cream. Very nice. Very excited about the ice cream. Sounds delicious. Then at the Mediterranean market, the grilled lamb chop will be around all season long, as well as the baklava. You get that good Greek tasting food. And then it will be feta fries that are going to rotate out on the first go round. First section. We'll figure it out. At the Brazilian market, there is the Brazilian cheese bread and the grilled sirloin. Delicious sounding. And then I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm not going to try, but it is a traditional Brazilian black bean stew with meat. It's going to be the first option that rotates out. Sounds pretty good. At the Indian market, the item that is sticking around is we're going to go with the description. It is a slow-cooked lentils in a rich, creamy sauce. Sounds interesting. And then a butter chicken is the item that will rotate off of the menu. At the Asian market, there is going to be shrimp and broccoli, a fried cheesecake with strawberry sauce, and General Tussauds chicken will be the item that will rotate off. Now, I'm going to pause right here because I looked at this earlier and it hit me. And I'm very sad. Not to the point of wanting to cry, not that bad. But they've gotten rid of the bingsu ice cream. If you missed this the last 4 years, I'm so sorry. This was delicious. Why they got rid of it, I have no idea. It was a very poor decision on their part. This bingsu ice cream was a cup of very nice vanilla ice cream with salted caramel popcorn on top with a caramel drizzle. It was beautiful. It tasted delicious. It was wonderful on a warm day. It had cream. It had popcorn. It had caramel, which I'm not the biggest fan of, but it was salted caramel. So you had that salty and sweet combination. SeaWorld, why did you get rid of the bingsu ice cream? I'm very upset. To our next spot. Right, but I am very disappointed in SeaWorld for getting rid of this. At the German market, there is going to be sticking around for the entire festival a chicken schnitzel sandwich, which sounds very interesting. It's a breaded chicken on a pretzel bun. Then there will also be a churro pretzel on a stick. So this is like a cinnamon sugar pretzel just on a stick. And those you can try out. And then it will be just traditional grilled bratwurst on a slider bun, available until March the 8th. At the Gulf Coast Market, the sticking around is going to be the pork boudin balls, the banana Foster's beignets, and rotating out will be the shrimp and grits. So if you want your shrimp and grits, get there before March 8th. At the Mexican market, they have a corn dip with tortilla chips and mini churros. They're going to be on the menu for the entirety. And then it's going to be al pastor tacos with blue corn tortilla chips, blue corn tortillas, I'm assuming chips, and that's going to be available only until March 8th. At the Irish market, they have the Reuben egg roll. I think I'm going more Scottish there than Irish. And then cheese nachos are available until March 8th. Beats and Bites Market has a Chicago doll, truffle aioli fries, a turtle brownie with walnuts and caramel, very nice. And then rotating off of the menu will be a mushroom Swiss truffle burger. Now, I'm not super impressed with this Swiss truffle burger. That was not super exciting, but looking ahead to April, I definitely want to try the breakfast burger. This is egg, bacon, lettuce, tomato, onion. You have breakfast and lunch at the same time. It's a fantastic idea. So definitely be trying that later on into the festival. So those are the foods that SeaWorld Orlando is bringing for 2026 to the Seven Seas Food Festival. So guys, if you have any questions about the Seven Seas Food Festival, leave them down in the comments. Answer them if I can. We'll see you guys next time here on And on the Move.